Comey. Why did you fire Director Comey?
Because he wasn't doing a good job, very simply. He was not doing a good job.
Did it affect your meeting with the Russians today?
Excuse me?
Did it affect your meeting with the Russians today?
Will the new FBI director be in charge of the Russia investigation?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
That was the extent of the president's comments. You heard the question about his meeting with the Russians. That's referring to his meeting today with Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, who was visiting at the White House. Obviously, some of the follow-up questions also having to do with the Russia investigation that James Comey, as FBI director, was leading. That included a look at a potential collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. We want to go to NBC's Peter Alexander. He's standing by for us. Peter, Democrats have their talking points. The White House has their talking points on this. What are you hearing?
I think the bottom line is this White House appeared inexplicably, frankly, flat-footed last night after this news came out. Private aides here at the White House didn't anticipate the blowback to be quite as large as it was over the course of the evening, which is why we're not just hearing from President Trump now for the first time. We heard from the vice president only moments ago on Capitol Hill saying this was the right decision at the right time. They want to try as best they can to make this as far from a political decision as possible, to say this was strictly about the incompetence, in effect, of James Comey. As you saw, that was an unannounced meeting with Henry Kissinger, which is notable given all the conversations now and Democrats suggesting this was reminiscent of the Saturday Night Massacre during the Nixon administration. Henry Kissinger, of course, serving in both the Ford and Nixon administrations as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. But be clear, the White House wanted the president to get out in front of this at this point, now almost 24 hours after the announcement was made. We hadn't heard from him in more than 5 days. He wanted to make it clear in simple terms that James Comey was fired for no other reason than his failure to do his job well. Lester?
Peter Alexander at the White House. Thanks. NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams is in our Washington bureau. Pete, members of the bureau have had it overnight to now absorb all this. Does anything fundamentally change in terms of investigations in progress?
No, they'll still go on, Lester. The people who were working on them yesterday are working on them today. The Andrew McCabe, who's the now acting FBI director, was well versed in this investigation, so he can pick it up. The question is whether this will have some long-term influence, though, on the agents working the case. Will they think that there's less enthusiasm for this now at the Justice Department and clearly at the White House? There is a strong feeling at the FBI that the pretext, that the Rosenstein memo was a pretext, that the real reason he was fired is that he wouldn't stop the Russia investigation.
One of the issues here, of course, is the timeline. Is there any indication that the president may be close to naming a replacement, or did this truly just land on his lap?
It truly just landed in his lap, although it's to some extent he invited it. But they've already been talking to possible successors. And they've talked to at least 5 people, a couple of special agents in charge of FBI offices, an official at the Office of the Directorate of National Intelligence, and 2 people who are now at the FBI, including Andrew McCabe. So they're starting to come up with names. This undoubtedly will be a rolling process. People will come and go off that list. But they say they're already well into the process of possibly nominating a successor.
Pete Williams in our Washington newsroom. Pete, thanks very much. Again, the president moments ago making his first public comments about the firing of James Comey, saying he was doing a bad job when asked by reporters as to why he fired him. Just a reminder, I'll be sitting down exclusively with President Trump tomorrow at the White House. You can see our interview tomorrow on NBC's Nightly News, and of course a full wrap-up tonight on Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt in New York. Have a good day, everyone. Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.